Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be looking at how to multiply polynomials. So before we get started with the actual multiplying, let's remember a few things. A polynomial with two terms is called a binomial, and a polynomial with three terms is called a trinomial. And when you have something like x squared times x to the third, because the x is the same base, we would be allowed to multiply these, and what you would do is add the exponents. So that would be x to the fifth, not x to the sixth. Don't multiply the exponents. And then if you were adding something like, let's say, 2a to the fourth plus 3a to the fourth, you would need to have the same base to the same power. So this would be 5a to the fourth. And if they were not the same power, let's say it's 2a squared plus 4a to the sixth, then you wouldn't be able to add them because they're not like terms. Okay, so those are a few details that you've probably seen before, but it's important to know as we start multiplying. Okay, so for the first few, you can see that you have one term or a monomial outside of your parentheses, and to do this, we would use the distributive property. So that would mean 4 times 2x, which would be 8x, and then 4 times 3y is 12y. So some are going to be really simple like that. They're not all like that. Okay, 3a times 6a. So 3 times 6 is 18, and then a times a is a squared. And then 3a times 9b, 3 times 9 is 27, and then just a, b means a times b, and that's all we can do with that. For number 3, 5n times 3n would be 15n squared. And 5n times negative 6m is negative 30. mn, or nm is the same thing, that wouldn't matter. And 5n times 2 is 10n. And feel free at any time during the video to pause and try the next one on your own. And of course, rewind and go back if you need to see something again. Okay, number 4, 2k times, oops, a little too high, 2k times k squared would be 2k to the third. And 2k times 8k is 16k squared. And 2k times negative 3 would be negative 6k. And you wouldn't be able to combine any of these because, as I was saying earlier, even though they're all a base of k, they're all to different powers, so they're not like terms. And number 5, 4p squared times 9p to the third would be 36p to the power of 5, 2 plus 3. Then 4p squared times 6p is 24p to the third. 4p squared times 8 is 32p squared. Okay, so what we did there in those first 5 questions was multiply a monomial by a binomial or a trinomial. And you can also use that same method if there were more terms. If you had 4 terms, 5 terms, you just keep distributing. Okay, number 6, what we have now are 2 binomials that are being multiplied. And a very common technique to multiply binomials is called FOIL. That's an acronym which stands for F, stands for first. That means you'd be multiplying the first two terms. O stands for outer. I stands for inner. And L is last. So what does all of that mean? First would mean the first term in each binomial, which is the x and the x. So if you multiply that, you get x squared. Outer means the two on the outsides. So the x times the 3 is 3x. Inner is the two on the inner part. So 9 times x is 9x. And last would be the two last terms of each binomial. So that would mean that 9 and the 3. And also watch the signs. They're both positive here. So that's positive 27. Now, after you FOIL, go back through and see if there are any like terms. And we do have 3x and 9x. So let's go back and combine those. X squared plus 3x plus 9x is 12x and 27. And now our answer is a trinomial, but there's nothing else that we can combine. Okay, number 7, same thing. First is the m times the m. Wire in my way from this pen. Okay, so that would be m squared. Then the outer m times negative 4, so negative 4m. Then the inner would be 6 times m plus 6m. And last, watch your signs here. Positive 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. Then go back and combine these two terms. M squared, negative 4 plus 6 is positive 2m minus 24. Okay, number 8. First would be d times d is d squared. Outer d times 5 is 5d. Inner negative 8 times d is negative 8d. And last, negative 8 times positive 5 is negative 40. And then go back and combine the two middle terms. So keep the d squared. Positive 5 with negative 8 makes negative 3d minus 40. Okay, moving on. And maybe at this point you want to pause and try a few because we've done some. Maybe you want to see if you have the hang of it. Okay, k times k would be k squared. Outer is negative 2k. Inner is negative 7k. And last, negative 7 times negative 2 is positive 14. And now go back and combine k squared minus 9k plus 14. Number 10, y times y is y squared. Outer, y times 5. Inner, 4 times y. And last, positive 4 times positive 5. And combine those two middle terms, y squared plus 9y plus 20. Moving on, h times h is h squared. Outer is positive 8h. Inner is negative 9h. And last, negative 9 times positive 8 is negative 72. And combine those two middle terms, h squared. 8 minus 9 would be negative 1h, or just negative h minus 72. Number 12, first, x times x is x squared. Outer is negative 12x. Inner is positive 3x. And last, positive 3 times negative 12 is negative 36. And then combining x squared, negative 12 plus 3. Remember, subtract, take the sign of the higher, so negative x minus 36. Okay, now the first is 2p times 3p, so 6p squared. Outer 2p times 1 is 2p. Inner 5 times 3p is 15p. And last, positive 5 times 1 is 5. And combining would be 6p squared plus 17p plus 5. Okay, moving on. We have some more binomials. 6n times n would be 6n squared. Outer 6n times negative 3 is negative 18n. Inner negative 2 times n is negative 2n. And last, negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. And go back and combine 6n squared. Two negatives, remember, keep it negative and combine negative 20n plus 6. Number 15, 3g times 4g is 12g squared. Outer 3g times 2 is 6g. Inner negative 7 times 4 is negative 28g. And last, negative 7 times 2 is negative 14. Now combine, and this again positive negative, so subtract and take the sign of the higher. So 28 minus 6, and it would be negative 22g minus 14. Number 16, 4b times 2b is 8b squared. Outer 4b times negative 6 is negative 24b. Inner positive 3 times 2b is 6b. And last, positive 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. And again, subtract and take the sign of the higher. So 8b squared, negative 18b minus 18. And number 17, 5a times 2a is 10a squared. Outer would be 45a. Inner, negative 1 times 2 is negative 2a. And last, negative 1 times 9 is negative 9. And go back and combine 10a squared. 45 minus 2 is positive 43a minus 9. Okay, now in number 18 and down to 22, we have some special cases, and these are called conjugate pairs. And what that means is they have the same terms, n and 6, but the sign is opposite. One's positive and one's negative, or the other way around. It doesn't matter which one is where. As long as you have the same two terms, but with the opposite signs, those are called conjugate pairs. So let me show you what happens. The first term, n times n, is n squared. The outer would be negative 6n. The inner would be positive 6n. And last, positive 6 times negative 6 is negative 36. And now when you combine negative 6n and positive 6n, they will cancel each other. And so your answer would be n squared minus 36. So with conjugate pairs, that's always going to cancel in the middle because you have those opposite signs. So that means we don't have to do all of FOIL. We can just do the first and the last terms because the middle two will cancel out anyway. So for 19, let's just do that. R times R would be R squared. And last, negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4, and that's it. We're done. Number 20, x times x is x squared, and positive 9 times negative 9 is negative 81. Number 21, 3y times 3y is 9y squared, and the last, negative 5 times positive 5 is negative 25. And 22, 2m times 2m is 4m squared. And last, 8 times negative 8 is negative 64. Okay, so that's it for general multiplying. Now we're going to look at some word problems. I know every time I pull out the word problems in my classes, everybody cringes. I hope you're not cringing as well. Okay. So number 23, the width of a rectangle is 8 units and the length is represented by 5x plus 3. Write an expression that represents the area of this rectangle. Okay, so let's remember that the area of a rectangle is its length times its width. So the area would equal, it says its length is represented by 5x plus 3. And its width is 8 units. So since we have a binomial times a monomial, we're just going to distribute. So 5x times 8 is 40x, and 3 times 8 is 24. And that would be it. Because remember, we're not trying to solve this. We're not actually finding the area. We're just writing an expression. So that's all we have to say. Area equals 40x plus 24. Okay, number 24, the length of a square is represented by the expression 2x plus 4. Write an expression that represents the area of the square. Okay, so for a square, let's remember the area formula is side squared. So since the side is represented by 2x plus 4, that means we're doing 2x plus 4 squared. Okay, so what does it mean to square something? It means to multiply it by itself. So this would be 2x plus 4 times 2x plus 4, multiplying by itself. And since those are two binomials, we can do FOIL. And they're not different signs. They are the same signs, so we're not going to just do the first and last like we did a little bit higher. We're going to actually do the whole FOIL. So first would be 4x squared. Then outer 2x times 4 is 8x. Inner 4 times 2x is 8x. And last 4 times 4 is 16. And finally, because we do have two of the same terms here, we can put those together. So the final answer, I'll write up on this line here, 4x squared plus 8 is 16x plus 16. Box that off there. And again, it just said to write an expression, so we're not trying to solve anything right now. Number 25, the width of a rectangle is represented by the variable w. The length of this rectangle is 6 units longer than the width. Write an expression to represent the length of the rectangle. Okay, so if the length is 6 units longer than the width, it means it's whatever the width is plus 6 units. So that's the length. Write an expression to represent the area of the rectangle. So again, area equals length times width. And we just said that our width is W and our length is W plus 6. So we're just going to multiply those by distributing W. W times W is W squared. W times 6 is 6W. And that would be the answer. See, these aren't so bad. Okay, this one looks a little more complicated, but I bet it's not even as bad as you think. All right, number 26. The diagram below shows the design of a logo for a new company. The dimensions have not yet been chosen and will depend on the area. Write an expression for the width of the rectangle. Okay, so the width of the rectangle would go from here all the way to here. So that would be a combination of y and 4. Now we're not multiplying those because all we're doing is combining this piece with this piece to make a full length. So that would be y plus 4. Write an expression for the length of the rectangle. Well, that's the same idea. We want to combine this piece with this piece and make one whole piece, which would be x plus 6. Write an expression for the area of the rectangle. Okay, so like we said earlier, area of a rectangle is length times width, and the length we just said is x plus 6, and the width is y plus 4. So we have to multiply those two together. Make sure you write those in parentheses because we're multiplying the whole binomial by the whole binomial. So very important to write that in parentheses. Okay, so I'm going to do some FOIL here. First, x times y is xy. Outer would be 4x. Inner is 6y. And last, 6 times 4 is 24. Sorry about that. I just got this little pop-up ad here. Okay, so looking back, we can't really combine anything. We don't have any like terms. This is 4x and 6y. Those are not alike. So the expression is just what we have there. xy plus 4x plus 6y plus 24. And I should have started with this equals the area. Okay, using your answer to part C, calculate the area when x equals 3 inches and y equals 2 inches. Okay, so I'm going to plug those into that expression. So A equals xy would be 3 times 2 plus 4x, 4 times 3, plus 6y would be 6 times 2 plus 24. Okay, so going back, I have 3 times 2 is 6, plus 4 times 3, which is 12, plus 6 times 2 is another 12, plus 24. And if we add all of this together, let's see, we have 6 plus 12 is 18. Plus 12 would be 20, 30, and then 24. So that would be 54 inches altogether. Okay, that was fun. And number 27, and you're thinking, yeah, sure, lady. Number 27, the rectangle shown below is going to be enlarged by increasing both the length and the width by 3 units. Write an expression for the width of the new rectangle. Okay, so we have this green rectangle, and what's going to happen is we're going to increase that by 3. So we're going to come up a little bit here, make that 3 inches or 3 units longer than it was, which means we're adding that on to what was already there. So that would be x plus 3. You can say 3 plus x too, that is the same thing. Okay, write an expression for the length of the new rectangle. Well, the length is also going to be increased by 3. So that means making that 3 units longer and adding it on to what I already had. So that would mean x plus 4 plus 3, which is x plus 7 altogether. So the new rectangle will look something like this. Okay, write an expression for the area of the original rectangle. The original rectangle is what we had, so A equals the x times the x plus 4, and distribute, so x times x is x squared, and x times 4 is 4x. So the original would be A equals x squared plus 4x. Write an expression for the area of the new rectangle. Okay, so now the new width, I'm sorry about all these interruptions. A equals x plus 3 is the new width, and x plus 7 is the new length. And to get that expression, we're going to FOIL. So x times x is x squared. Outer is 7x. Inner is 3x. And last, 3 times 7 is 21. And we can combine here. We have 2 x terms. So the final answer will be A equals x squared plus 10x plus 21. Okay, now for the fun part. Write an expression for the difference between the area of the new rectangle and the area of the original rectangle. So difference means we need to subtract. And because the new rectangle is bigger than the old rectangle, we're going to take the bigger rectangle, x squared plus 10x plus 21, and subtract the old area, which was x squared plus 4x. Now remember, when you're subtracting polynomials, you want to distribute this negative. So x squared plus 10x plus 21 is not affected, but then it would be minus x squared and minus 4x. Okay, and then combine. So x squared and negative x squared cancel out. 10x and negative 4x would be positive 6x. And then 21 doesn't combine with anything, so 6x plus 21. And that's it. So I hope you found that helpful. I hope you enjoyed doing FOIL. It's one of my favorite things to do. And it's one of my students, after they get the hang of it, it's one of their favorite things to do, believe it or not. So I hope that was a useful video for you. And if you'd like the worksheet to go along with this video, then visit us at themathmasters.com. And you'll find a whole lot of other helpful videos and materials there as well. Thanks for watching.